Hello and welcome to Volusia Magazine. I'm Amber Osman. In today's episode, we have details on the FEMA Disaster Recovery Center. We have an update on the Staed Veterans Memorial Bridge, as well as near-record mosquito numbers and a recap of this year's turtle nesting season. Plus, Joanne Magley talks with Adrianne Laneave from SBA's Disaster Assistance Office. Those segments and more coming right up on Volusia Magazine. I hope you stay tuned. A temporary disaster recovery center, often referred to as a DRC, has opened in Volusia County to help residents affected by Hurricane Matthew. DRCs serve as one-stop shops for eligible residents who were impacted by Hurricane Matthew and are seeking one-on-one help. Representatives from the Florida Division of Emergency Management, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, the U.S. Small Business Administration, and various state and local agencies are at the center to answer questions and provide assistance to those who have had damages from the storm.
I would encourage anyone who wants to meet face-to-face with FEMA and other organizations about what their family's needs are to take the opportunity to go visit the Disaster Recovery Center. We've had dozens and dozens of visitors so far, and we're encouraging people to visit as many times as they need to visit. So you can sit down with FEMA and the Small Business Administration and other organizations to talk about exactly what Hurricane Matthew did to your primary residence or to your business and to your family, and to talk about what your family's unmet needs and continuing needs are. If FEMA can't provide the assistance, other organizations may be able to help. So this is a one-stop shop to talk to people about the types of assistance that are available to you.
For FEMA assistance, it takes about 15 minutes to apply, but before applicants call, go online, or visit the DRC, they should gather the following basic information to speed up the process: Social Security number, telephone number, address of the damaged property, current mailing address, a brief description of disaster-related damages and losses, insurance information, bank account address and information. According to Mills, the deadline to register for FEMA assistance is Friday, December 16th.
A lot of people have already registered with FEMA by calling 1-800-621-3362 or online at disasterassistance.gov. When you registered, you received a 9-digit FEMA registration number. If you need to stay in touch with FEMA, and we encourage that, you don't have to register again. All you need to do is call the number, provide to the person you speak with your 9-digit FEMA registration number, and then you can ask questions about your case. You can discuss what type of assistance you've already received and what type of additional assistance your family may need to help make your primary residence safe, sanitary, and functional again, and how you can best get on the road to recovery.
The DRC is located at the Florida Department of Health, which is 1845 Holson Back Drive in Daytona Beach. Hours are 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Saturday. This center is available for people who want to meet in person with a FEMA or SBA representative. Residents can also visit any of the county's 13 library branches to apply for FEMA assistance online. If residents do not have a library card, a guest pass will be issued to use the public access computers. People also can bring their own equipment and access the free Wi-Fi to complete the online FEMA application. At the library, staff members can assist in navigating the online FEMA application, but they are unable to discuss specifics with regard to FEMA eligibility and assistance. Residents are encouraged to call FEMA's toll-free registration number at 800-621-FEMA, which is 3362, to speak to an online representative who can answer questions and provide consulting regarding eligibility and assistance that may be available.
FEMA handles every family on a case-by-case basis because everyone's exact situation is unique. So far, FEMA has approved more than $12 million for individual homeowners and renters in Florida affected by Hurricane Matthew, and more than $4 million of that has gone to individual residents in Volusia County.
For more information about the DRC or for Hurricane Matthew recovery information, call the Citizen Information Center at 866-345-0345 or visit online at volusia.org/PIN. The demolition of the existing drawbridge at Orange Avenue, Silver Beach Avenue in Daytona Beach is approximately 50% complete with the removal of the deck and piling. The demolition will make way for the new high-rise Staed Veterans Memorial Bridge project.
Okay, demolition is going well. As you can probably see from behind us here, we've got about half of the bridge taken out. We're working on the beach side now. The west side is pretty much demoed.
The next phase includes pile driving, and according to Rook, test piles will begin to be produced at off-site locations and then shipped into the area in the coming weeks. Once those test piles arrive, they will be driven into the channel floor and data will be gathered to help create the remaining piles for the project. The test piles will be installed on the west side near the shoreline and then continue east.
The piling is the foundation of the bridge, right? So this project has some of the largest piling that the state of Florida uses, and they're 30-inch concrete square piling. Most of them are in excess of 100 feet in length. So basically they're going to drive the piling into the ground, and these are large, heavy pilings. So the energy that needs to be applied by the pile driving hammer is great, which will cause a little bit of vibration and quite a bit of noise.
Pile driving is expected to continue for 12 months. The Staed Veterans Memorial Bridge project began in early June and it is expected to last for 32 months before reopening. For more information and to view construction project photos, you can visit veteransmemorialbridge.com. The Volusia County Library System has more than just books. Here's a look at upcoming programs at our branches. For more library events, visit volusialibrary.org. The 2016 General Election Day is this Tuesday. We wanted to remind you to get to your polling location and vote. It also gave us a chance to revisit the 2000 election when Volusia County was at the center of a national political storm when the final numbers for the year's presidential contest were hanging in the balance.
The quaint small-town atmosphere of downtown DeLand was interrupted the morning after Election Day. That's when all eyes across the nation focused on Volusia. More than 60 news media outlets from across the nation converged on our county seat, but they weren't the only newcomers. Legal representatives from both of the political parties had arrived by noon on Wednesday, and they were in it for the long haul. The Volusia County Canvassing Board spent hours double-checking the returns, hearing arguments from Democratic and Republican representatives, and discussing what to do next. Finally, the board made the controversial decision to manually recount all 186,019 ballots cast in the presidential race.
Well, you have over 170 precincts, each with a couple thousand votes in it. Some as little as 200 votes, some as high as 3,000 votes. We have to go through each and every ballot that was generated and count whether it was Bush, Gore, or one of the minor parties. That's a lot of paper.
So why did the board unanimously go for it?
It's critical to protect the integrity of the voting precincts, of the voting in Volusia County and the voting in the state of Florida.
Although I believe the integrity of the system we use is good, I think that we need to be sure that every vote is counted when it gets this close. And so I had no reservations about going and doing a full count.
There are two benefits from this. Obviously, the immediate question is, what are the votes for President of the United States in Volusia County? How many voted for this candidate? How many voted for that candidate? Doing it this way, we have evaluated and reevaluated the numbers in every possible way, and nobody is harmed by our doing these ballots one at a time by hand. So that will conclusively answer the question of what are the numbers of votes for president.
From the get-go, members of the public expressed concern over the security and the accuracy of the recount, even going so far as to suggest it was possible for someone to change some votes. But what the public didn't know is that security surrounding the ballots was tight and high-tech. Secured in a vault inside the elections department, no one could get near the ballots without armed law enforcement officers and party representatives present. Because the recount would be a massive operation, the board needed to move the ballots from the vault to the training rooms at the County Administration Center just across the street. That meant stepping up security. From that moment on, no less than 4 armed guards would keep the blue bags company. They were placed inside a small room adjacent to the counting room. The locks to the doors were changed, and only the 3 board members were given a key. A 24-hour surveillance camera, along with at least 4 armed deputies, kept a close eye on the bundles.
County Judge McDermott has requested our presence here to provide 24-hour security over the ballots to make sure that we preserve their integrity. That commenced Friday. Prior to that, we were involved with some limited security. The ballots were locked up in the safe. Since that period of time when they came out and they're being counted and so forth, we've been requested to do 24-hour, 7-day coverage of the ballots, also in concert with the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, and they provided several agents here as well.
Even with deputies and correctional officers keeping a secure perimeter around the area, as well as the ballot room itself, some members of the public were still leery about the process of the actual manual recount. Believe it or not, security played a role in this process too. Blue bags full of completed ballots were delivered to each counting team by an officer. Seated at each table were 2 Volusia County employees and 1 representative from each of the 2 parties, who only served as observers and were not allowed to touch the ballot. As the public and news media looked on, the employee counters, seated across from each other, sorted the ballots into 4 piles: Gore, Bush, Other, and if for some reason the party representatives could not agree who the vote was for, the ballot was placed in the 4th pile labeled Questionable. These were reviewed by the canvassing board, who tried to determine the intent of the voter, and sometimes this was a difficult task because voters did not complete the ballot according to the directions.
Necessary motion.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Once separated into piles, 1 employee counted the ballots in each pile. Then the 2nd employee double-checked by counting again. Then the totals were recorded using something other than the black marker that was used by the voters on the ballots. Then those counted ballots were returned to the locked room by an officer. But it wasn't just the ballots that were kept under that tight security. The tally sheet and other records also were closely guarded. At no time were records handled without armed deputies and party representatives present. Now, overseeing this comprehensive security operation were several officers from the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. In other words, every precaution was taken to ensure the safety of the ballots. Once the 3-day process of recounting, canvassing, and certifying the county's results was complete, the ballots were returned to the vault in the Department of Elections, where they will remain for 10 days after the board adjourns. Then they are moved to a warehouse where they're kept for 2 years before being destroyed. Now, however, if a lawsuit is filed within the 10-day window, the ballots will remain in the vault under lock and key indefinitely. For Volusia Magazine, I'm Holly Smith.
Here's a look at some events happening around Volusia County. For more events and county news, visit volusia.org. The saying, when it rains, it pours, has quite a bit of application to the mosquito population here in Volusia lately.
So Hurricane Matthew dropped a lot of water on Volusia County, and we're experiencing elevated populations of mosquitoes that we really haven't seen in the county since 2012, almost to the exact day, October of 2012. And we're experiencing those populations throughout the county. So we're getting requests, service requests, because of these biting populations of mosquitoes across the county. We've been dealing with this situation now for almost 2 weeks.
According to McNally, the Mosquito Control Division has been actively surveying and spraying for the mosquitoes. Spraying operations include truck and aerial spraying to cover large areas of the county quickly. Residents can learn the spray locations by visiting volusia.org/mosquito or by following @VCNewsInfo on Twitter. Spray locations and times are regularly tweeted. Residents also can request mosquito control service in their area by calling 386-424-2920 in New Smyrna Beach or 386-239-6516 in Daytona Beach.
The 6 weeks prior to the hurricane, we averaged about 45 service requests per week. In the 2 weeks following when the mosquitoes came off from Hurricane Matthew, our requests went up to about an average of 450 per week. The worst week was when we received 724 service requests. So the public has noticed that we have elevated mosquito populations as well. And
even with the services of Mosquito Control, though, to reduce mosquito, it takes everyone doing their part.
We always ask people to tip and toss, so those containers are still producing mosquitoes, and they've all been topped off, if you will, to a certain extent by that rainfall from Hurricane Matthew. So again, at least once a week, go out and tip the water out of those containers, flush it out of a situation like a bird bath. It's that same drum that we beat year-round here in Volusia County, because mosquitoes do exist here in Volusia County year-round.
If a container can retain water, it can create a mosquito problem that infects you and your entire neighborhood. Residents should also wear mosquito repellent to avoid mosquito bites. For more information about mosquito prevention and protection, you can visit volusia.org/mosquito. The Volusia County Council recently joined blind persons and advocates for the visually impaired to celebrate White Cane Safety Day. This annual event honors blind and visually impaired people's achievements in the United States. It also reminds us that the white cane is an important tool in helping the blind and the visually impaired live with greater independence and dignity. For blind Americans, white canes and guide dogs are symbols of freedom and independence, enhancing their potential for full participation as members of society. Other mobility aids such as wheelchairs, crutches, canes, and walkers are independence tools for people who have physical disabilities.
The purpose of it is to make officials, drivers, the public, and pedestrians aware that drivers are to stop to allow a person using a cane or a dog or a mobility aid, or for any pedestrian that's crossing the street. Also, it does give people the opportunity to cross, and frankly, it's a good experience, it's a positive experience. So that's important. But at the same time, it also educates drivers and the public about the law. Unfortunately, a lot of officers, a lot of officials, and a lot of drivers don't know there is such a law.
According to Florida's white cane law, motorists must come to a complete stop before reaching a location where a blind or mobility impaired pedestrian is crossing a public street or highway with a white cane, guide dog, or mobility aid, then proceed with caution. It's time to head into the studio and join the Director of Community Information, Joanne Magley, and her guest, Adrianne Laneave, from the Small Business Administration's Disaster Assistance Office.
Thanks, Amber. Well, as mentioned earlier, a temporary disaster recovery center is now open in Volusia County at the Florida Department of Health. And one of the agencies available to assist at the center is the Small Business Administration, also known as the SBA. So joining us today in the studio is Adrianne Laneave, Public Affairs Specialist with the U.S. Small Business Administration. Welcome, Adrianne.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here. So before we get into the role that the SBA plays in disaster recovery, give us a little bit of an overview of what the organization does on a daily basis.
Well, the SBA, as many people know, is here to generally assist small business in their startups with a loan guarantee program. However, in times of disasters, in the presidential declaration, we step up and be able to help homeowners, renters, businesses, and not-for-profits through our low-interest direct lending disaster loans to help them in their long-term recovery, such as rebuilding your home, replacing personal property. Businesses can help get structural repairs as well as economic injury.
And one of the misconceptions, I guess, with the SBA and these low-interest loans is that they're only for businesses, but you want to reiterate that residents can also be eligible for these loans.
Absolutely. During disasters, we are second to insurance. We are the primary financial resource for those homeowners in those long-term repairs. So this could be, we're replacing a roof. We could be working on their structure, replacing their damaged internal personal property, televisions, carpeting, whatever it takes to make that home a home again. So we're here to assist them as homeowners as well as renters.
So what does a person have to do, or business, to apply for one of these low-interest loans?
Well, the absolute first thing anybody should do if you suffered from damage is to register with FEMA, and you can do that at their 800 number, 1-800-621-FEMA, or disasterassistance.gov. Once you've registered with FEMA, as you will often be referred to the SBA, you'll get a contact, a phone number, a phone call, and we'll ask you how you would like your loan application. It's incredibly important, it's absolutely critical that you complete and submit that application. And as soon as you do, we'll go ahead and evaluate you for our program. If as a homeowner or a renter, our program is not a good fit for you, we're going to go ahead and refer you back to FEMA for possible additional grant consideration. But we can't get you there unless we've had the chance to see and evaluate you for our program. So it's absolutely critical. We are the second step in the process. Now, if you'd like to fill the application out online, that's perfectly easy to do. You can go to sba.gov/disaster, find out some more information about the loans, or you can come right into the Disaster Recovery Center that's now open and visit with my team and be able to help you out. Remember, there's no application fee to apply for these low-interest loans. It'll take about 20 minutes of your time. There's no fee to accept the loan, and even if you are offered one, you're not required to take one. But it is a very important tool that you want to make sure that you have access to.
So let's go back for just a second. The first step, of course, is registering with FEMA.
Absolutely.
And then one of the second steps could be signing up for the loan application. Now, if they are not a fit for the loan, do you then assist them with that other step of possible other FEMA assistance, or put them in touch with who to talk to next? Because I'm sure this whole system is probably daunting for anybody who's just gone through major damage.
Absolutely. It's actually an automatic system, which is very nice. So they'll register with FEMA, they'll be referred to the SBA. Now, they will get a letter in the mail from FEMA that will say, it talks about eligibility, about halfway down, and they'll say, you've been referred to the SBA for a low-interest loan consideration. That's important, that's critical. Then they want to complete that application and see it submitted. Again, you can do that online at sba.gov/disaster, or you can do it in the Disaster Recovery Center. And I strongly encourage you to come in and meet with the team face to face. Once we've had a chance to evaluate you, again, if our program's not a good fit, we're going to automatically get you back to FEMA for possible additional grant consideration, at which point FEMA takes over at that point in time, because they have their own program to be able to assist you.
Sure.
So it's just incredibly important. And the easiest way, again, now that we have the Disaster Recovery Center, come down, see the team. You get your questions answered with FEMA, you get your questions answered with the SBA, and there are various state agencies there. So it's just a nice one-stop shop, no stress. You can come in and really get that personal attention.
So what can people expect when they come into one of these disaster recovery centers? I'm sure you're very familiar with them because this is part of what you do when disasters come around. You help make a presence at these centers. So what should the residents or business owners expect once they go in?
Well, once they go in, they can register with FEMA. If they have questions, they can ask to speak to a FEMA representative. There's various different areas of it, and they can also come in and talk to our customer service representatives for the SBA. We'll go ahead and work with them through an evaluation to see again if our program is a good fit for them. If it is, now remember, homeowners can get up to $200,000, and when we're talking low interest, we're talking can be as low as 1.563% for terms up to 30 years.
Wow.
It's not free money, it is a
Right.
loan, but with that interest rate, it is a lot better than a credit card. So we want to make sure that every homeowner has that tool, and our customer service representatives at the center can be able to assist them with that, can walk them through the application. We will actually help them do it right there. We have computers set up, and again, one-on-one personal attention, asking the questions. So it's incredibly important. Just come down, and again, one-stop shop, get all your questions answered. You can, if you get a letter and you don't understand it, that's the place to go, because they'll tell you all about it.
All right, well, Adrianne, what else do you want people to know about the SBA or the disaster assistance that's available?
Well, one of the main things, again, is that we are a critical step. I know that our name is misleading because we are here for businesses as well, but we're also here for those homeowners. For businesses that suffered, now I know along the coastline, especially the A1A, we've had a lot of businesses that were damaged.
Right.
Now keep in mind, businesses can apply, and we can offer up to $2 million, and an interest rate for businesses is 4% for terms up to 30 years. Now whether you're a homeowner or a business, we're going to give you time before your first payment is due. So we're going to do actually like 5 months. Go ahead, and before we even start a billing cycle, you don't have to accept the loan if it's offered, but keep in mind the first $25,000 of the loan is unsecured. After that, if collateral is available, we will take an interest in it. But again, it's going to be very low stress. Again, no origination fee, no application fee. There's no fees involved. Nothing comes out of pocket. We're not charging you for anything. It's just a tool that is available for you. So please just go ahead and submit the application, get it into us, let our team evaluate it, and we will see what we can do for you. And if we can't, we're going to get you back to FEMA, possible additional grant consideration.
Okay, and again, people can stop in at the Disaster Recovery Center or contact the SBA directly.
Correct, and absolutely come and visit us in the Disaster Recovery Center. Get all your questions answered.
All right, Adrianne Laneave, Public Affairs Specialist with the Small Business Administration. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Amber, back to you.
Thanks, Joanne, and thank you for watching Volusia Magazine. If you have any questions about the show, you can feel free to give us a call at any of the numbers you see listed here, or you can log on to volusia.org and click on the News tab at the top of the screen to find us. Incidentally, you can find the County Council meeting calendar there too. In fact, you can use volusia.org to find out about meeting dates, workshops, topics of interest, activities, and how you can become involved. And we hope you won't forget to listen to Volusia Today. That's Volusia County Government's weekly public radio broadcast. Volusia Today airs every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Sunday mornings on the local radio stations you see on your screen. For Volusia Magazine, I'm Amber Osmond. Have a wonderful evening.